Hi, this video today is for movement teachers, yoga instructors, or if you have your own personal movement practice and you're looking for simple ways to begin a class or your session. Let's get into it. All right, so I've been teaching movement and yoga and dance for 15 years. And something I find is that at the very beginning of class, it's a crucial time to setting the container and creating safety inside the space and also understanding where we are in space. More studies that I've done in understanding trauma and those that have experienced things in their lives that create a sense of not being safe in their bodies, it's particularly important that we can begin class in a way, or for yourselves, in a way that feels safe, that feels contained, and that makes us feel like, okay, we can really go inward in a safe way. So let's go through the process. In this video, I will first run us through the whole introduction, how you would move yourself or others through it. We'll experience it together. And afterwards, I'll kind of explain a little more in depth as to why you would want to do those things. All right, let's get started. So, can begin in a seated position. And the very first step we'll do is using our eyes to take in the space around us, taking in our environment. So we can do that nice and slow, just looking in front of you, whether you're outside, in your room, in a studio space, looking in front of you, taking in the different colors, the different textures. You can look over your right shoulder, same thing, taking in the space to your right. Nice and slow, just letting your eyes and face move wherever they might go. If you're at home watching this, I encourage you to do this with me. And then we'll take a look over the left shoulder. Again, just observing what's around me here, looking low, mid-level, and high. Doing this outside is a beautiful experience too. And then taking a look behind you, perhaps above you, just noticing what's above you, the ceiling, the sky, the trees, wherever you are. And then right beneath you, noticing the floor, noticing where your body is sitting in relationship to other bodies or objects or beings around you. Nice. And then step 2, we'll start to take in the sounds. So you can do this with eyes opened or closed. And just noticing I'm in a park with lots of things going on. So there's people, the sound of a saw, the sound of birds, the sound of my own voice. So just asking yourself or your students to take in and listen for all the different noises they can hear. Nice. And just holding that space with all the noises around. It's very rare you'll get to a silent space in your life. So just letting those noises around you exist. And then we'll come to the awareness of the physical body through touch. So placing your hands on your own legs, just giving the legs a squeeze or a gentle rub or a pat, just finding the type of touch for you that feels grounding and creates a sense of safety within your own body. And you can come up to your arms. And what we're doing is just tracing the lines of our body, the landscape of our own body, just understanding where we are in space, where space and our body meet. Nice. And then the next phase is perhaps closing the eyes or keeping them open. And we'll start to orient inside the body through different points. So places like the left ankle, just noticing the left ankle, the right kneecap, the left shoulder blade, the right ear, the top of the head, and then trying to see your body from feet all the way to the top of the head. Nice. Then we'll move on to noticing the breath. So we'll notice the tip of our nostrils, noticing the temperature of air as we breathe in, and how the temperature changes as we breathe out. And then also noticing the shoulders just gently rising as we inhale, so the chest and the shoulders will slightly lift and slightly fall. And we're not using our muscles to lift our shoulders, just the breath. And then lastly, the final attunement or orientation is the beating of our own heart. So noticing or trying to notice the beating of your own heartbeat. And sometimes we can't quite feel it. That's okay, just sensing. Can I feel my heart pumping? And then lastly, we'll tie all that awareness in together. So noticing the beating of the heart and the rising of the shoulders as we breathe. Sensing different body parts and spaces within the body. Noticing where our body is touching our own body or touching the floor or the earth around us. And also sensing the space and the beings or the people or the animals in front, behind, side to side, and up and down. Orienting ourselves in space. Nice. All right. Well, if you've stuck with me this long, then I hope that throughout that practice you started to notice a shift. Perhaps you felt a little bit more calm in your being, or it was easier to drop into a deeper space. Briefly, I wanted to discuss a little bit of the philosophy behind a few of these things. So for people with any sort of trauma in their life, which is many people, so if you're a teacher, just note, at least one person in your room most likely has experienced something in their lives that perhaps makes them feel not so safe in their physical environment. So beginning a class with having everyone just gently taking in the space around them allows them to know where they are in space rather than tunnel vision. I'm only looking at the instructor, but I'm still trying to sense this person over here and that animal over there. This is just taking a moment just to orient themselves and the room or the environment around them. So I learned this in a trauma-informed training, and it's used by different therapists and others to orient those who are in that experience of perhaps held trauma or feeling unsafe. Coming to the touching of the body. So this is, again, some people who, either yourself or others, either when we're stressed or we still are holding those traumatic experiences inside, this can help us know where we are in space and receive touch that is safe because it's from ourselves. And also, it can help bring us back into the body. So often, if we're really anything stressed in life in whatever way, it's easy to have all of our attention come up here into the head, and the body's completely forgotten about, whether we're dealing with pain or anything really. So the touching of the body is just a way to tangibly, in a tactile way, feel where our body is and ground our attention back into the body. Same thing goes for that internal shifting of the left knee, the right hip. You can choose any places in the body. It's just a way to orient yourself of knowing where your knee, where your shoulder, where your head is. And then moving into the breath and the awareness of the beating of your own heartbeat. This is just a tool to help us tune deeper into your parasympathetic nervous system, so your rest and digest. The awareness of slowing the breath down and the tuning into your own heart. So I invite you to use this, to practice it on your own, to share this at the beginning of class. I know sometimes as teachers it's hard to know how to start a class because maybe us ourselves have been super busy and we just ran into class and we're like, okay, let's start. But I invite you to try this out with your students and see if it makes a difference in dropping not only your students into a deeper space inside of themselves, but also you. For more information on this, please consider subscribing to my channel and following me. I love to talk about all things movement, creating safety within ourselves, teaching others to do the same, creating joy in our lives, and getting out of pain. So if any of this sounds interesting to you, consider subscribing to my channel. I would so appreciate it and would love to call you into my world and community. With that, I will bid you all adieu, saying goodbye from this beautiful forest here in Seattle, Washington, aka Duwamish lands. Have a good one.